It begins with a discovery that feels like science fiction, yet it's happening inside your body. Microplastics, those invisible fragments you can't see. Antibiotics in milk and meat disrupt your digestion, weaken immunity. Their entry points are disguised as everyday food.
This video is made for educational and informational purposes only.
It begins with a discovery that feels like science fiction, yet it's happening inside your body right now. In June 2025, researchers published findings on microplastics in the human brain that prompted significant attention from global health organizations. Microplastics, those invisible fragments you can't see, touch, or taste, aren't just in your blood, your liver, or your lungs. They have been found in the human brain, with some studies detecting measurable concentrations that surprised researchers. Emerging research suggests these particles may be associated with neurological inflammation, and some studies are exploring possible links to conditions such as depression and cognitive decline, though research is still ongoing. It's no longer a distant environmental concern. Researchers are now investigating how these particles may affect brain health, a frontier that scientists are actively studying. You might believe your home is safe. After all, you cook clean meals, avoid junk food, maybe even filter your water. But the truth is far more chilling. Every day, without your consent, hormones, antibiotics, and microscopic plastic particles are slipping quietly into your diet. Their entry points are disguised as everyday food: milk, meat, vegetables, packaged snacks, even drinking water. They move through your kitchen like undercover agents, infiltrating your family's meals while you sleep, eat, and live unaware. To understand the threat, you must follow the trail back to where the contamination begins. In dairy farms across the world, cows are routinely injected with rBST, IGF-1, estrogen, and antibiotics like amoxicillin. The reason appears harmless: to produce more milk, to prevent infection, to speed up growth. But inside each drop of milk hides something more sinister: a chemical telegram that can alter your body's hormonal language. In meat farms, animals raised in overcrowded sheds are pumped with growth hormones, tetracyclines, sulfonamides, and penicillin. These drugs make them grow unnaturally fast, surviving conditions so stressful that medication is no longer treatment, it's survival fuel. In fish farms, confined fish gulp water laced with antibiotics and estrogen-like chemicals. In crop fields, pesticides, herbicides, and soil-borne residues seep deep into vegetables and grains. Even the water you drink carries hormonal traces and antibiotic runoff from farms and sewage systems, remnants that water treatment plants are not fully designed to remove. Everything we consume is touched by something invisible. The shock comes when you compare organic and conventional food. A U.S. study sampling milk from grocery stores found antibiotic residues in a significant proportion of conventional milk samples, while organic samples had notably lower or no detectable levels. The study found notably higher growth hormone levels and elevated IGF-1, a compound researchers have associated with increased cancer risk in some studies, in conventional products compared to organic. Some samples in that study reportedly approached or exceeded regulatory thresholds, according to the researchers. The researchers concluded that choosing organic milk may help reduce exposure to these residues. Organic isn't an affordable luxury. That means millions unknowingly serve these chemicals at their breakfast table every morning. If this were only about food quality, it would be troubling enough. But the damage runs deeper, into the most intimate systems of the human body. Antibiotics in milk and meat disrupt your digestion, weaken immunity, and may pave the way for antibiotic-resistant infections, superbugs that humanity can no longer kill. The World Health Organization has projected that antimicrobial resistance could cause up to 10 million deaths per year by 2050 if no action is taken. Long-term exposure to residual drugs affects gut bacteria, triggering allergies, skin issues, and metabolic disorders. Hormones in meat and dairy aren't just passive passengers, they are molecular impersonators. They mimic natural hormones, pushing children toward early puberty and increasing risks of hormone-sensitive cancers like breast and prostate cancer. Contaminated water adds to this exposure slowly, silently, drop by drop. Then comes the most unexpected twist, the part that shakes even the most conscious consumer. Vegetarians and vegans are not safe. You can abandon meat, boycott dairy, and still be caught in this chemical web. The soil that nourishes vegetables is irrigated with contaminated water. Pesticides and antibiotic residues cling to grains. Plant-based substitutes, often processed in factories, are wrapped, stored, and shipped in plastic that leaches microscopic particles directly into food. Environmental advocates, including Dr. Vandana Shiva, have argued that individual dietary choices alone cannot fully address contamination. Systemic, ecosystem-level protections are needed. In other words, the contamination is not a dietary choice, it's environmental fate. Governments have tried to stop the bleeding, but the battle is far from over. The European Union has banned rBST and non-therapeutic antibiotics in livestock, reducing chemical residues in food. Denmark and Sweden digitally track every drop of animal medication. Farmers who misuse drugs face severe penalties. The United States now allows antibiotics only under veterinary supervision, cutting usage by nearly half. Canada and Japan outlaw growth hormones entirely. India has restricted the sale of oxytocin, a hormone used to force cows to release milk, though illegal underground distribution still persists. These policies are steps forward, but enforcement is uneven, and global demand for cheap food keeps the addiction alive. And then there's the story no one wants to tell, the suffering behind the scenes. Animals raised in cramped, stressful environments are prodded, injected, and medicated, not out of necessity, but out of broken systems prioritizing profit over welfare. Oxytocin is sometimes used to stimulate milk release in cows, a practice that animal welfare researchers have raised concerns about. Antibiotics mask infections caused by unhygienic conditions. Animal behavior expert Dr. Temple Grandin has long emphasized that animal stress and poor welfare conditions can negatively affect the quality of what animals produce. The implications of this system extend beyond biology, raising questions that are, at their core, ethical. But here's the twist you didn't see coming. The most dangerous contaminant isn't the chemical you swallow, it's the one that reaches your brain. Microplastics, released from plastic packaging, cookware, clothes, even the dust floating in your home, enter through the food you microwave in plastic containers, the water you drink, and the processed snacks you unwrap. Studies indicate that microplastic particles may be able to cross the blood-brain barrier, which scientists consider one of the body's most selective protective systems. Some scientists have found associations between microplastic exposure and neurological inflammation, with early-stage research exploring potential connections to depression and cognitive decline. Research suggests microplastics are already present in human blood and tissues, a finding that has prompted serious scientific attention about long-term effects on brain health. Yet the ending of this story isn't hopeless, unless you choose to remain a passive character. You can shut the door on these invaders, reduce single-use plastics, never microwave food in plastic containers, choose whole, unpackaged foods, filter your water using reverse osmosis or activated carbon, pick products labeled no antibiotics, no hormones, support ethical farms, join community agriculture groups that offer transparency, Share what you know, because every family that learns the truth becomes another fortress. The real villain was never a single chemical. It was our assumption that someone else is protecting us. The companies feeding these ingredients into our food supply are betting on silence, on ignorance, on a world too distracted to notice the invisible war happening in every kitchen. Now you know. The question is not whether contaminants are in your life. They already are. The question is how long you will allow them to stay.
This video is for educational and informational purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. Always seek the advice of a qualified healthcare provider regarding any medical condition or treatment.